Reflexes, or reflex actions. Our sense organs are connected to the body by a network of nerves that carry electrical impulses at breakneck speed to our brain and spinal cord. Nerves can transmit electrical impulses at 120 meters per second, which is equivalent to 275 miles per hour or 432 kilometers per hour. The brain and spinal cord form the decision-making center for your nervous system and control both conscious and unconscious interactions with the environment. And although it's nice to be able to make a conscious decision to pick up and eat a delicious cake, think yourself lucky that you don't have to make minute decisions about everything, including how to balance, how fast your heart needs to beat, how big the pupil of your eye needs to be. The list of unconscious processes controlled by the brain and spinal cord is almost endless. Some of the unconscious processes fall into the category of a reflex action. These are what we call our reflexes. For example, when you withdraw your hand when you touch a hot object, flinch when something is thrown at you, quickly move your foot when you stand on a pin, blink when an insect flies at your face, sneeze when something is irritating your nose. All of these happen without you having to make an effort to think about it. These are your reflexes. They're designed to help you avoid danger. There are also many reflexes that help basic body functions such as breathing and digestion work properly. Without these reflexes, you would have to actively remember to contract and relax the individual muscles in your ribcage to ventilate your lungs. Let's look at an example of a reflex. Consider mindlessly grabbing a hot pan. What happens to make you instinctively withdraw your hand away to stop you from hurting yourself? Looking more closely at this, you have receptor cells throughout your body. Thermoreceptors in your skin can sense the heat from the hot pan. The hot pan is the stimulus and the thermoreceptors are the receptors. The receptor cells receive the sensory information and transmit an impulse through sensory neurons. Where does this impulse travel though? In this example, the sensory neuron travels down the arm and through the spinal cord. Looking more closely, we can see that the impulse is transmitted through to the spinal cord, which acts as the coordination center or coordinator. It is here that the impulse is directed to relay neurons in the grey matter of the spinal cord, and the relay neuron connects the impulse to the appropriate motor neuron to initiate the correct response. In this case, the impulse from the motor neuron connects to the muscles in the arm to cause a contraction so that the arm responds by moving the hand away from the hot pan. In summary, the hot pan is the stimulus, the thermoreceptors in the skin of the finger are the receptors, an impulse in the sensory neuron passes the signal to the coordinator, which in turn initiates an impulse in the motor neuron, which creates an action in an effector, which is either a gland or a muscle. That causes the response, in this case to move the hand away from the hot pan. This pathway, also known as a reflex arc, is how all reflexes are completed in the human body. But exactly what receptors, nerves and effectors are involved varies. These unconscious processes can be carried out much faster than conscious responses and therefore are vital to maintenance of life. In summary, the central nervous system controls conscious and unconscious processes. Unconscious processes work to keep you alive. These processes are called reflex actions and are responsible for controlling digestion and heartbeat, among other things. Reflexes happen very quickly, without thought. All reflexes follow a simple pathway or reflex arc. Stimulus, through a sensory neuron to a receptor, to the coordination center where there's relay neurons, to the effector via the motor neuron to give us a response. Unconscious reflex actions are very fast. Keywords: relay neuron, generic name for nerve cells that connect sensory and motor neurons, sometimes called interneurons. Sensory neuron, nerve cells that are activated by a sensory input from the environment. Motor neuron, nerve cells that transmit messages to muscles or glands from the central nervous system. Receptor, a group of cells that detect sensory input. Effector, a muscle or gland that brings about a change in conditions. Coordinator, the brain or spinal cord. Response, how the conditions are returned to the optimum level by the effector. Reflex arc, the neural pathway followed during a reflex action, involving the sensory, relay, and motor neurons.